Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing the action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the CT Toys bootleg or knockoff version of the Mafex Hush Batman. This is a blue and gray version. I ordered this guy from AliExpress. It was less than $30, free shipping, which is really cheap for a Mafex figure. And I've heard really good things about this. My initial thoughts were, I don't need the knockoff, I've got the real thing. But mine is kind of a little bit worn over time and has a couple issues. So I thought, it's worth the gamble. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the bottom, this is number 105. I assume that's the number of the original Mafex version. You can see CT Toys. Here's Batman in the corner there. Bayman Hush. It says Bayman, I assume because they're too scared to put Batman on there. Even though this whole thing is obviously an illegit release. Just, I guess, one thing to sort of protect them. Below that, Hush. One side package, Bayman Hush. Other side, same thing. At the back, here's the figure, some pretty cool poses, different display options, and interchangeable parts. And at the bottom, there is no barcode, as this is a knockoff or bootleg. The packaging came in pretty smashed. It just sort of fits the whole bootleg and knockoff theme. Crappy beat-up package from AliExpress, the epitome of a bootleg. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. He comes with quite a bit of stuff. We have a display stand, 12 alternate hands, totaling 14 interchangeable hands, 4 batarangs, 3 different heads, and then a couple of attachments for his grapple launchers. Before we take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out this figure. So this is the CT Toys bootleg or knockoff Mafex blue and gray Hush Batman. I have the original version and I've had him for many years, so my opinion on him has been pretty sort of settled at this point. It's a very nice figure, but I think it's a little bit overrated. Some people say it's the best Batman figure out there, and it's very nice. I prefer the blue and gray one over the black and gray one. But I don't know, I just feel like it's a little bit too thin, and the cape is just a little bit too much. It can be a little bit too much to deal with sometimes. My original one, the bendy wire, sort of broke off the chest. But we'll check that out in a little bit. Now you can get these CT Toys bootlegs for really, really cheap at AliExpress. Much less than half, or almost probably a fourth the price of the regular version. And it's a little bit worse than the regular thing, but not by much. In this video, we will take a look at the figures, accessories, height, articulation, and we'll compare them with the original Mafex release. So let's take a closer look. Starting with his head here, he's got the semi-short ears, a little bit of sculpt to the brow there, white lenses in the eyes, square jaw, very stern expression. It looks good. It looks very close to what I remember the other one looking like. And we'll check that out shortly. Bat symbol, no oval, very large, fantastic utility belt. I don't know, just the disconnect between the stomach and the torso. It's like the torso is just a little too big, the gaps there. I can kind of see a little bit of the inner sort of peg on his arm poking out. That's not like that on the regular thing. But really small things like that don't bother me. And if you're paying about a fourth the price, it's well worth that. Double jointed knees, double jointed elbows. The cape is very long. It goes much farther than his feet. It's going to drag behind him and have some great poses. It's got, 1, 2, 3, 4 bendy wires in it. Very nice. It's a really good looking figure. I got the CT Toys black and gray one recently, and I definitely prefer the blue and gray look. That's how he's drawn in most of the sort of Hush comics. And when I say overrated, it's still a very nice Batman figure. Easy 8 out of 10, which is a very high rating in my book. But people act like it's just absolutely flawless, is what I mean by that. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. And from what I'm seeing so far, the blue and gray one looks better than the black and gray version. I remember that one having really, really pale skin. Another thing I wanted to point out is you can't have his legs completely straight in a vanilla pose. This is the straightest you'll get the knee to bend. And I keep wanting to sort of straighten it up a little bit, but I don't know, not a big deal. And then, here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories. And let's start off with the display stand. Here's his display stand. The main part comes in 3 separate pieces. When you put together, it looks like this. The bottom is a transparent base. 3 different slots where you can put the post, and then the post. At the bottom, it can rotate. It's hinged, hinge in the middle, hinge at the top, rotation at the top, and this clamp to hold your figure. Now let's check out his hands. He has a total of 14 hands, 7 left hands, and 7 right hands. Here's Batman with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. Here's his second pair of hands. These are a pair of gripping hands with a really small grip, mostly intended to hold his cape. Here's Batman's third pair of hands. These are a pair of gripping hands with trigger fingers. And his next pair of hands, these are some open hands. Look like these could be some grabbing or throwing hands. Here's his fifth pair of hands. These are a pair of default hands. They would look good relaxed at his sides. And his next set of hands, these are the batarangs between his fingers, 4 on each hand, Dark Knight Returns style. Here's his seventh and final set of hands. These have the grab and launcher permanently attached. You can have it in the left hand or the right hand. And there's a little hole at the front for the attachments. Now let's look at his heads. He has 3 different heads and 2 different necks. One head is a regular expression, one head the angry expression, and then we have the unmasked Bruce Wayne head and neck. Here's a look at his first face. This one has the normal expression. And then his second head, this one has the angry expression. And his third head, which has the unmasked Bruce Wayne, which I think looks fantastic. Here's the CT Toys version on the left, next to the original Mafex on the right. Yeah, the Mafex one does look better, but not that much better. They're pretty close. Whenever there's a Batman figure that comes on an unmasked Bruce Wayne head, I always think, can I make this into a Bruce Wayne figure in civilian attire? So I took the Mafex John Wick, I think from Chapter 2, just a regular black and white suit, and put the head on it. This can be Bruce Wayne when he's working at Wayne Enterprises, and I think it actually works pretty good. The peg and the head wasn't a complete match. I put a little sticky stuff there just to keep it there. The flesh tone is pretty similar. It's not perfect, but it looks like a pretty good Bruce Wayne in everyday life. And then we have his grapnel attachments. They were both a hook, one with a very small line and one with a really long line coming out. I do wish it was a bendy wire, not just a straight wire. Here's Batman holding and using his grapnel launcher with a smaller attachment, and then with a much larger grapnel attachment. And for his batarangs, he has a total of 4 of them, 2 smaller and 2 larger. They're all done in the silver color. The smaller ones have a little sort of thing at the very top. And then these are the more sort of traditional hush-looking batarangs I'm familiar with. Here's Batman holding a couple of the smaller batarangs. And then here, holding the larger batarang. Now I want to talk about his cape. His cape is cloth soft goods. It has 4 bendy wires in it, which is pretty cool. And it's really, really long. It can make some nice poses. But when handling it, it just kind of gets in the way a lot and it seems like a bit much. And I love me a long cape. So, like I said, cloth soft goods, bendy wire. As you can see, it's much longer than him, so it can sort of drape behind him, which is cool for Batman to do. It's sort of connected to the chest, under his cowl here. And like I said, all kind of posing purposes. Kind of a sort of flowing in the wind behind him, like he's walking. His smaller gripping hands can hold the cape and sort of having it in front of him like so. Looks pretty cool. The cape could stretch out about that far. Very nice. And one thing I like to do with a hero like this, with a cape, with a cloth soft goods and a wire in it, is make it sort of flowing in the wind. And an easy way to do that is just take your finger, bendy wire, find where it starts, have it go up, then wrap it down over another finger, back down, maybe back up again. Kind of fix it a little bit. Going out. Take the other side. Make it match. And of course, we've got other bendy wires. Kind of get them going the same direction. And bam, you have a quick makeshift version of Batman with his cape flowing in the wind. And I could spend some time making it look a little better, but tell you the truth, it looks pretty damn good as is. Natural wrinkles, makes it look like it's just sort of gliding there, flapping in the wind. You can outstretch it like this. If he's gliding down or gliding over the city, it is important how you get both bendy wires here to make it look good. And don't get me wrong, I am terrible at posing capes. You can have him crouch down with his cape spread out all around him. Kind of reminded me of the fan film Dead End. So I took this Mezco Batman stand that kind of has all the clips to outstretch his cape. I didn't actually attach the cape to the clips, just sort of laid it on there. and I think it looks pretty cool. You can almost achieve something like this just by using the couple bendy wires. Now to check out the reuse differences and similarities between the CT Toys Hush Batman and the original Mafex version. And I have the original Mafex version. They re-released him 1 or 2 times, and I think maybe he had some slight improvements. Now it is 100% the same figure. They look pretty close. The gray is a little bit darker on the original version, and so is the blue cape. The flesh is also a little bit darker and looks maybe a little bit better on the original. So let's take a closer look. So, start with the heads. The eyes are a little bit bigger on the new one, a little smaller on the old one. It looks like maybe they're outlined in black. The blue is just a little bit darker on him, a little bit glossier on him. Flesh color a little bit paler. The gray is just a little darker here. The cape is a little bit lighter on the new one, but it's really everything else is pretty much the same. I did sort of mention that issue where I can kind of see some of the metal on the inside of the peg there, and you definitely can't see it here. It's a lot tighter. And this one here, just like the other one, it's like it's only connected on like the one side. I don't know, it's hard to explain. And this one just seems to be a little sturdier. Now the overall plastic, it feels maybe just a hair gummier, but very similar. It's not like it's bad or anything. And my original one, the front of the cape here, it's not fully broken, but I can feel where sort of it's like starting to snap here. I just bent it too many times, and it's kind of like that both sides. It's almost protruding outside the cloth here. So that was the main reason I thought, what the hell, let's get an upgrade, especially for such a cheap price. And tell you the truth, upgrade is not the right word. It's actually a downgrade, as the CD Toys one is slightly inferior to the Mafex version, but more like a refresh. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 6.3 inches tall, which can translate to about 16 centimeters. And we go to the top of the ears, about 6.5 inches tall. And for his articulation, starting with his head, of course, you can rotate side to side. He can look up about that far, down, pretty good amount. Can tilt his head from one side to the other. He does have articulation both at the top of the neck and at the bottom. Shoulders on a ball joint goes up more than 90 degrees, and personally I think those butterfly joints are hideous, but on Batman here they're hidden very nicely with the cape. Superman, which is an exact same sculpt, that's another story. So his butterfly joints increase their range of motion in there. Bicep cut, double jointed elbows. His wrist can rotate, and it's hinged as well. Ball joint in his torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, very good range of motion in the torso area. Legs, almost completely does splits. Ball joints, he kind of has slightly dropped down hips. If they go down, just push it back up. And go forward almost all the way. Back not much. You can kind of see sometimes they need a little adjustment. Double jointed knees. And his ankle. Forward and back. A little bit of rotate. Even a little bit of tilt and rock. And toe articulation. Here's a look at Batman grappling over the city of Gotham, recreating that infamous Hush cover. And here's another Hush cover being recreated. Batman and Nightwing running through the rooftops of Gotham. Here's Batman on top of our gargoyle, recreating the cover of Batman Comics number 608 from the Hush storyline. Here he is, hanging out at the top of a building, waiting to make his move. Here he is, looking over his city, making sure that nothing is going to happen tonight. The Caped Crusader, the Dark Knight, the Watchful Guardian. I love how he can look down the side of a building and it actually looks right. Very few Batman figures can do that. And then just a quick glance at some of the vehicles he fits into. Batman Animated Series Batwing, yes, he fits, no problem. Batman Animated Series Batmobile fits as well. The Multiverse Justice League Batmobile, yes, he fits. The new 12-inch scale Spin Master Batmobile, yes. old The Batman Batmobile, yes. Any of the Bat Pods, even the basic Batman vs Superman Batmobile, the Bat Raptor, the Spin Master Batmobile. He fits into a lot of my vehicles, and I love it. Here's a look at Batman on a rooftop of Gotham City, overlooking and protecting his city. Here's Batman with his mask off, doing some research in the Batcave while Alfred is offering him tea. Here he is, perched on top of a gargoyle, overlooking the city. And here he is, grappling up onto a rooftop. Here he is, hanging off the side of the building, with his cape completely covering his body. Here he is, on a rooftop in Gotham, overlooking the city. And I do really like he can have this Batman on the side of a building, looking down. Not too many Batman figures are able to do that. This figure is definitely much better than I remember. Most of the negative things I say don't really apply. Yes, the butterfly joints are ugly, but they're hidden very nicely on him. The cape being a little too much, I love it. Him being a little too thin is, a little bit applicable. But between him and the Nightfall Mafex Batman, we have two really damn good Batman figures. Now let's check them out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Hush Batman figures. Here's the CT Toys Blue and Gray Hush Batman on the left, next to the Mafex Blue and Gray Hush Batman on the right. Here's the CT Toys Blue and Gray Hush Batman on the left, next to the CT Toys Black and Gray version on the right. I'd say I definitely like the Blue and Gray version better than Black and Gray. Here are both the CT Toys versions on the left, next to both of the Mafex versions on the right. Here he is, next to the DC Direct Blue and Gray Hush Batman. DC Direct made at least 4 different versions of the Hush Batman. Here he is, next to the McFarlane DC Multiverse Blue and Gray Hush Batman. McFarlane made 5 versions of the Hush Batman. Made lots of Batman figures utilizing the Space Body, but 5 that are specifically based off the Hush comics. Here's the CT Toys Hush Batman, next to some Mafex Batman allies. These are all based off the Hush storyline: Catwoman, Superman, Nightwing, and Huntress. Here's this Batman, next to several different Mafex Hush rogues: Scarecrow, Hush, the Riddler, and Harley Quinn. Here's the entire Mafex Hush collection, and there are many more releases upcoming. Off the top of my head, the ones I can think of are Tim Drake Robin, Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, Ra's al Ghul, and Batgirl. I don't even think that's all of them. Here's the Hush Batman, next to the Mafex Nightfall Batman. These are, without a doubt, the 2 best Mafex Batman figures they've released. I lean more toward the Nightfall version, as I love that storyline. But honestly, give them a look over, Hush Batman might actually win. And just like the Hush Batman, they made both the Black and Gray and Blue and Gray versions of the Hush and Nightfall Batman figures. Now let's check them out. Next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know designs you can mix him with. Since this is a CT Toys figure, they have the 6-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the smaller action figure lines I collect, and then work my way larger. And I'm going to include as many Batman figures as I can during these comparisons. Since he's not exactly a Mafex figure, but he's pretty close, here he is, next to some other Mafex Batman figures. And now, with some Jazzwares Fortnite figures and SH Figure Arts action figures, here's Batman next to a cinnamon roll. And here he is, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends and Mattel Batman figures. And now, with some Jazzwares and Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some Mezco and NECA Batman figures. Next, with some DC Direct and McFarlane Batman figures. And finally, with some Diamond Select toys and Jack-specific wrestling figures. So overall, it's a very nice Batman figure. And especially for this price, the CT Toys knockoff version, if you're on the fence, get him. You will not regret it. It is a great Batman figure, especially if you're into the 1/12 scale, Marvel Legends, Mezco, Mattel. It'll fit in pretty nicely size-wise with all those. The cape, it's actually fantastic. It can achieve a lot of poses with the 4 wires. It's very long, drapes behind him, looks great. The figure looks even better. I'll say doing this review has actually probably brought my opinion of the original version up. It's a lot of fun. Remember how much I like this figure. If I were to rate this guy, plenty of accessories, good articulation, looks good. I'll give this knockoff version 8 out of 10. and I'd give the original version 8.5. This one is damn near as good, just a tiny bit inferior, but about 75% cheaper. So, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.